As winter gives way to spring in the North Woods, we track some stunning creatures described as the ghosts of the forest. In Wisconsin, reporter Joe Garrett gives you a rare look at the elusive white deer herd near Boulder Junction.
Visually, they're so unusual and so startling. It looks like a ghost at times, just kind of drifting through the woods.
Jeff Richter is a nature photographer based in Mercer. Some 10 years ago, Richter took his camera and went to track down a mystery. Local stories of a band of white deer near Boulder Junction. He saw a flash of white.
And so I stopped and got out of the car and had my cameras with me, so I kind of eased over there, and all of a sudden the deer popped its head up, and I looked eye to eye with this white deer and was just instantly hooked by him.
So began a decade-long quest that's resulted in Richter's recent book, White Deer.
Our headlights flash onto a white doe standing right by the road. And of course, we were going slow anyway, but the brakes are on, and that intake of breath, and oh my God, white deer.
John Bates of Manitowish is a well-known Northwoods naturalist and the author of the text of Richter's book. It was his job to research the science and the history of these deer in Wisconsin. He discovered that they seem to have been here for ages. They are the subject of Native American legends, and they're mentioned in the journals of European explorers.
There's a pocket here in Manitowish Waters area, another in the Boulder Junction area, another in the Land O'Lakes area. And really there's individuals then seen all around the state, but there seems to be an unusual concentration of them here in north central Wisconsin. Why, I have absolutely no idea.
Why the white deer came to flourish in these places, no one knows. But there are at least two reasons why they're thriving now.
Local people protect these deer and feed these deer. And we have laws now that prevent people, at least cost you dearly. If you wish to shoot one in Wisconsin, you'll pay.
They're protected by state law and cherished by the local communities. And yes, they really are albino. Pink eyes are not required, according to Bates' research.
I'd always been told that albino deer had to have pink eyes. So I eventually contacted a professor of genetic studies at the University of Minnesota who tried his best to educate me. And the bottom line is, he said that there are many forms of albinism and that pink eyes are a strong likelihood but not a necessity.
So what will you see in Wisconsin's white deer?
They'll have pink ears. Their noses will be pink, and the eye of an albino deer will be either pink or this light blue or light gray. Their eyes almost look like eyes of a goat. Very, very different looking. So you'd have this brilliant white animal, but with these pink characteristics, ears, nose, and hooves.
So how many of these white deer do we have in Wisconsin?
Well, if we ran the numbers, we have 1.5 million more or less deer. And if we have a 1 in 20,000 chance of having albinos, 20,000 into 1.5 million. Where's my calculator? I don't know. But it's not a very big number.
But that rough number, that roll of the genetic dice, doesn't say how many animals will actually survive. Bates, the naturalist, speculates.
And certainly in the summer they are going to be far more obvious to a natural predator, but in the winter, which is 5 months out of the year up here, that we would have snow cover, they would have the advantage. So 5 months versus 7 months, maybe it's a trade-off.
You can see that roll of the genetic dice played out in individual families.
I've seen albino does with both brown and white fawns, and I've seen brown does with both albino and brown fawns as well. So they can have both, and they seem to, not be ostracized from the other deer. At times they seem to be the dominant animal, and at other times they seem to be a more submissive animal. So they just seem to be regular deer as far as the deer were concerned.
Regular in behavior, remarkable in appearance.
We actually have had a couple of stores where clerks overheard people had picked up the book and were looking at it and said, "Boy, this is really neat, if only they were real."
Oh, they're real, all right.
They just at times look kind of funny out there, honestly, particularly like summertime where they're sort of sneaking around in the woods, and cripe, you can see them 100 yards away. They stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, and they're doing their usual kind of deer sneaking, and it's kind of you chuckle to yourself. But there is something just a little different about them and special about them.
Photographer Jeff Richter's pictures and stories are contained in his book, White Deer, Ghosts of the Forest.